You ever heard of defragging a hard drive? Let's go defrag a Prius battery. Hello everybody, welcome back to the channel. It's been a while, but as content concerned, we're back on track. Today we have a 2008 Toyota Prius in need of maintenance. Maintenance being the hybrid battery system, something that practically no one really does or even looks at. This car has 187,000 miles on it. It's in pretty good condition, no rust. I guess being up here in the rust belt, you expect it to be in worse condition, but I've seen them pretty much rusted out already with less miles than this. But we're going to prolong this. There's a kit out there that's designed to revive the battery on a hybrid car, and in this case I bought the kit for the Prius. This would be my second Prius of the year. I've done one earlier, it just didn't document it very well. I may eventually put that one out or combine it along with this one. Time will tell. But this guy, battery condition or life expectancy is roughly 63%, I believe. It could be 65. I gotta look at the data again, but I believe it's 63%. The last battery I did was roughly 43%. I think after the prolonging discharge, recharge, discharge, recharge, discharge, recharge again, that battery came out around 84% life expectancy. Which isn't bad, but considering that car I think had right around 200,000 miles on it, I'd rather have 80 anything over 50. But we're going to see. This is something that you are supposed to do on a yearly or biannual basis to keep the battery alive. They were really designed to last the life of the vehicle, but since no one does maintenance on the battery, they're only going to last, well, roughly 250,000 miles before cells go bad from neglect, and you have to replace those cells. What most people do is just replace the battery. But if you do the balancing of the battery pack, it will actually last roughly the life of the vehicle. I have seen these with more than 400,000 miles on them. I'm quite sure they didn't do that with their original packs, but if they were prolonged or balanced, rebalanced that is, quite sure they would have got that many miles out of the vehicle. Okay, I'm quite sure you've seen plenty of videos on YouTube on how to break down the rear interior of your car. Well, that's basically what I just did. Took about 20 minutes with power tools. By hand, look for about an hour to get this to this point. So basically you had to take the rear seat upper cushion out to get to the retaining bolts of the support bracket, which are bolted in here, here, and here. So in order to get to those holes, you had to take this boy out. Other than that, it really didn't have to come out. But also, this cover has to come off to get access to the hot and negative wires to hook up the Prolong system. Also, the Prolong is going to tap into your cooling fan for the battery, which is right here. This is the wire. It plugs into the motor. You're basically going to unplug this guy, plug in the Prolong kit, fan support, I guess you would call this, because it's going to run this fan the entire time it's plugged up. So you unplug this harness from the fan, you plug its harness into it, then this goes into the back of that harness. Then from there we just hook into, I'll show you once I get it open. I got to back this thing into the garage before I hook the kit up. Plus you got to pull the power, which is right here. That's the main power supply. Once that's pulled, then I'm pulling the negative on the main battery also. Okay, let's get started. Okay, first things first, let's just connect the main power to the battery pack, just right here. Alright, and with all that crazy voltage, I'm going to disconnect the battery from the firewall. This will be the main battery. Come here. Say goodnight. Sit there for a second. Yeah. Alright, let's get the cover off. Alright, do one cover at a time. Go positive. That's an 8mm. Off with the 8. On with the positive. Snug. This is the battery side of the hookup. We don't want to hook it to the motor side, which is this side over here. We'll hook it to the battery side. Here's the negative. Hey, what's going on here? Snug. Put the cap back on. Alright, let's get this fan unplugged. Right there. This guy plugs into here. This end plugs back into the fan. There we go. We are good to go. They're all wired up. Seal this off for safety. Okay, let's hook this thing up. I am not covering any of this back up because this cord is not staying with this car. Okay, battery pack is sitting at 211 volts. It should peak out around 238, 239. Well, it's at 211, which is pretty good. I'm going to guess that's about 8 hours, maybe 10, for it to get to 238 volts. And once it sits there for a couple of hours, we're going to hook it up to the discharger. We're going to break it down to 134 volts. Then we're going to bring it from 134 volts back to 238, 240. Once it sits there for a couple of hours, balances off, let the little guys catch up to the big guys. We're going to discharge it back down, 101 volts. Then we're going to bring it back up, 240. Bring it back down, 84. Bring it back up to 240, and we're done. Okay, it's been sitting at 240 volts for the last 5 hours. So we're looking at 0.342 to 0.341 amps, and it's been flashing at that for the last 5 hours. So I would say this cycle of charging has been complete. The battery pack is balanced for the first round, meaning that the weakest cells have reached their capacities and the stronger cells have already been at their capacities for 5 hours now. So I'm going to switch it over to discharge. Okay, 240 volts. First discharge starts now. Alright, it has reached 134 volts and is doing a little bit of a bounce back right now. So after it's reached this discharge voltage, this guy will beep, let you know that it's idle, and it is currently recovering, I guess you would say, but it's time to recharge it back up to 240 volts. This took approximately 12 hours to discharge it to this point. Well, we've been charging for 26 hours. The battery voltage hasn't moved from 239 in about 4 hours. So I'm taking it that it is fully balanced. It's time to discharge it down to 101 volts. And I guess that's going to take around 10 hours. Let's knock this out. The 101 discharge is complete. Time to charge it back up. Okay. She's been at 237 now for about 5 hours. Time to do the final discharge down to 84 volts. Things are going a lot quicker now. I guess the battery is getting healthier. It is charging faster and discharging faster. Alright. This will be the final discharge. Alright, we're done with the final discharge. Time to move on to the final balancing.
Step 1. Please warm up and park the car, put gear in drive, then floor both the brake and gas pedal all the way down. This will charge up the battery in about 1 minute. Step 2. Release gas pedal, put gear in reverse, turn on headlight and AC to drain electricity from the battery. Your goal is to keep the needle within the green area. Step 3. Please keep the needle within the green area. Battery pack has estimated 96.20% capacity left. It is in new condition.
Okay, this is with 11.7 miles of driving after the balancing. Miles. Average so far is 34.8, but that's sitting with the test. It was up to 41, I believe, before the test. Alright, the Prius traction battery balancing is complete. Vehicle's ready to go. I would liken balancing of that battery pack to defrosting old school frost deep freeze. As it ages, or as you use it, you build up frost and then you lose capacity. You go from what used to be 20 cubic feet down to 15, 10, 3, to the point where you can't get anything else in that without defrosting it. Put in defrost mode, get all the frost and ice out of it. Now you're back to, give or take, 100%, 20 cubic feet. Well, you lose capacity as the battery ages in your Prius. So to get some of that capacity back, you rebalance it. You can't ever get back to 100%, but you can get close. And as long as you keep doing that on a regular basis, the battery, although it won't get back to that 100%, it won't get back to the 95, it'll get back a little bit lower as it goes, but that capacity will still be there to roughly 40%. Once you get down to 40, you're pretty much done. You're going to need a new battery pack. But as long as you keep balancing it, it'll keep coming down through time, but it should last the life of the car. Roughly 300,000, maybe 400,000 miles, depending on how often you do it. You guys take care, stay safe. See you next time.